Maybe movies. Oh. Sam?
Huh?
I think they're here again. The Outsiders. No, don't call them the Outsiders. I had enough of that at third year at high school. Thank you very much.
They're out there, and they're looking in here.
But that does work, but then at the same time, I know we're in Delirium, but if we're right, the Delirium is outside of normal causality. So are we the Outsiders?
Oh, shit.
We're going to have to think of something else. And we don't know how many of them there are.
Okay, right. Well, we don't know what they are or how many of them they are, so we'll just call them Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Huh?
Hello, Thing 2.
Hello, Thing 1.
And welcome back to Maybe Movies. My name is Max.
And my name is Sam.
And we are back after our month off. We've had a very nice month off. We haven't been asleep. We've been, throwing pens in bins, and reading books, and not reviewing books in completely different shows at all.
At all?
No.
Never.
But, as you have decided to drop back in and join us again, thank you very much. And we are here at the start of a new month of making fictitious movies. Or most movies are fictitious, obviously. But if you are new to this particular show on the channel, what we do here is we find a couple of films that have some kind of themic similarity, regardless of how tenuous that might be. We then extract the main characters from those films and plonk them into the plot and the setting of the other film and see if we can make the original film still work, make that plot still work with a completely different protagonist.
Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Who knows?
Exactly. We have quite an eclectic mix of films over the next few months that we'll be looking at, and we're going to try and do a couple of different things with the format in a few places as well. I think at some point later in the year we're going to be looking at doing a director double bill.
Oh, I like director double bills.
Yes, but I'm not going to tell you who, because you have to wait. But with that in mind, for February, we are actually doing an actor double bill.
An actor double bill? That's as good as it's going to get. Just deal with it.
Moving on. Yes, I had an idea. I thought, we could do it for a lot of different actors, but there's a couple of films in particular that I thought there's similarities between these two characters played by the same actor. And I thought, could it work? I don't know. Fuck it, let's see.
Who? Who? What are you talking about?
I thought we'd go full Douglas.
Full Douglas?
Full Douglas.
Oh, well, you know what? I've been a bit of a fan of Douglas since I was a small child. Both senior and junior.
Well, we're going junior with this one.
Okay.
So I will offer for your delectation this month.
Uh-huh.
Falling Down.
That is an amazingly good movie. Yes, I'll...
And The Game.
What
were you expecting? Black Rain or something? So, before we go any further, we do have to stress, The Game, both of these are fantastic films. The Game in particular, though, is a mystery thriller, directed by David Fincher, which came out in 1997. I don't remember how big it was at the time. I only came across it by accident, but this is a fantastic film. If you have not seen this film, and I know this is kind of counterintuitive considering that we're content creators, but I highly recommend that you do not watch this month's shows if you haven't seen this film, because we will be going into it in depth and we would not want to ruin it for you.
Anything we do with this movie is going to cause spoilers, just by its very nature. So, if you want to see it and discover it for yourself, do yourself a favour, click off now, go watch the movie and come back in a while. We'll still be here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll always still be here.
Sorry. But yes, so with that in mind, there will be a spoiler icon up here somewhere throughout the course of the thing. I don't know. There's nothing there.
I heard something. It sounded like a bell. Have the spider fence built a temple?
A temple to what? What does spider fans worship? Right, we'll put those to one side because we know. I mean, are you happy with this?
I am surprised by this. These are two very different characters, played by the inestimable Michael Douglas, but nonetheless very different characters in very different situations.
You say they're very different characters. They're both quite. They have a certain amount of. They both have a certain amount of gravity to them, and they're certainly very
yes,
serious characters.
Oh yeah,
it does make me think. I mean, if we're coming outside of the environments of the stories themselves, we're looking at them as pieces of cinema. It makes me wonder if Michael Douglas got this role off of the back of that, because that's 92. This is 97.
I was wondering the same thing whilst watching. I mean, even the visual look of the characters is quite startlingly similar, apart from the quality of the clothing.
Yes.
The actual look is very, very close. It's a very trimmed down, by the book, in the box kind of character.
Yeah.
In both situations. I can see that. I suppose my big problem is the idea of the game itself. In the film, it's pretty obvious that it's quite an expensive and extensive process.
Yes, I know. I did consider that.
So how would D-Fens end up in the game?
And that's a brilliant. That's a big stumbling, but that's going to be our first thing to decide.
If we decide that the game is not a business per se, but a concept about how you alter people's perceptions.
Okay.
Sort of like a charitable pyramid scheme?
Yeah. Keep going, I'm listening.
Well, pyramids go down as well as up. The idea is that each player in the game has to nominate someone to be the next player.
Of course. Yeah. I like it.
So my thinking is that, of course, a lot of the time it'll be the incredibly rich nominating each other to play the game to get shits and giggles. Mm-hmm. But every once in a while, some kind, altruistic, or possibly just slightly twisted soul will pay the message down.
Yeah, I like it.
Seriously, I have problems figuring out how D-Fens could end up in the game without something like that being
Yes, because there's nobody's going to buy it for him as a present. Nobody's going to spend that much money on him.
Good lord, now.
I never came up with a fixed idea. I thought, was it given to him as part of his severance pay? But then again, why would somebody do that? Because he obviously works for a defence contractor. They're not short of a penny or two, and that was the nearest I could get. But it's like, but why would you? Why would you give one of your employees that you're terminating this?
All right, well, I'll play along with that idea. It could be because, like, they've got an amazing defence contract, and they need a test to decide who's trustworthy within the company. Would be another way you could do it.
So the game starts the moment he loses his job. But losing his job is part of the game.
The point is, the test is he worthy of the job?
Yeah.
I mean, that's another way of playing it.
I like it.
That works better?
I think that works. Putting the two together like that, yeah, I think that works.
I just came up with that one.
No, that's brilliant.
So it's a test. It's a game, but it's a test. The game is a test.
So I think at this point, and again, those of you who kind of eagle-eyed and have probably noticed here, it looks like we're moving away from swapping these characters out of their respective films to swapping the story itself. So he still remains in his own setting within LA, but it's the story around him that's going to change.
To be honest, I'd always thought that as much because the film makes it clear that there's games in San Francisco, London, LA, New York.
So not only is it the first time that we've done the same actor, but I think this is the first time that we've actually just swapped the storyline.
Yeah, it's a refreshing way of looking at it.
I mean, because Nicholas Van Orton in this, that's not a problem. He can have a bad day.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. That was going to be my next thing. It's like, because that's like, if we can make that work, and I mean, we just that much is enough to make it work. Why to be a test? Like they've got an amazing defense contract,
a new type of missile contract, a missile that they're working on, which is top secret, and they need to have people that they know are not going to be corruptible working on it, and it's their way of finding how.
Right. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm already looking at the plot. Okay, good.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it a lot.
Brilliant. So that was probably the hardest bit that I was worried about, was how we were going to make this one work, but that's fine. So our two characters then. So we have Nicholas Van Orton.
Yes, of course.
Who's an investment banker in San Francisco.
Yes.
He's 48.
Yes.
I was like, are you sure? I don't know how old Michael Douglas was at the time.
It's not that far off his age.
Was it not? I don't know how old he is, so I never actually checked it. But
he was. I think he was approaching 30 when he did The Romancing the Stone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. So yeah, it's probably about right. Yeah. Then we've got Bill Foster, or D-Fens, because I didn't even notice that they just call him D-Fens in the credits.
It's one of those things when I was watching it again, even though I heard them say his name, I was like, I never do learn his name. He's always D-Fens to me.
He works for No Tech, I think they said in the film.
Ah, No Tech.
Yeah.
It's just like unobtainium.
It is. As I said, there are odd similarities between these characters. They're both estranged from their wives. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I know in this he's divorced. I could never figure out whether the little girl in there is supposed to be his daughter, because there's no scene of them interacting. So I'm thinking that's his ex-wife's daughter with her new husband.
You'd say that, but I'm not sure, because there's a point when the wife says, we're expecting her to have a little brother.
Yeah.
And the way he says it makes me think that's like, your daughter is going to have a little brother, not this child is going to have a little brother. I'm not sure. It's very subtle in the script.
It is, because she certainly mentions the daughter when she phones him on his birthday. Mm. But again, it's because they never, even at the end, they never include any kind of scene between him and the little girl to show that there is any kind of parental bond there.
Of course, that's kind of the point of him in the film. He's meant to be completely isolated from everybody.
So again, we can play that as we want then.
Yeah, I think so.
Both of them have an ex-wife or an estranged wife who's called Elizabeth.
I didn't notice that her name was Elizabeth.
Yeah, well,
very nice.
In that, yes, well, they call her Beth.
Beth, of course.
So,
yes.
But he's also got brother Conrad.
Yes.
And his lawyer as well, who's in there. So we'll come on to that.
I think the big difference is the fact that one character has a brother and the other doesn't.
Yes.
Defense is very much a single child.
But he does have a mother.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
Who's not all there.
That's one way of putting things.
So we're going to have to play with that as well. Oh god.
Okay. All right.
In terms of acts. For this, I've got... Let's have a look. So for the game,
right.
I got going with the cops to CRS and finding the floor empty.
See, I had it with the bit with the brother with the keys.
That's quite a bit later though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a long movie though.
It is a long movie. It's almost 2. Is it 2 hours or just over 2 hours?
Just over 2 hours, yeah. No, actually, no, you're right. You're right, because at that point, he's still playing by the rules. Because that's the thing about him, isn't it? He always plays by the rules.
Yeah.
And he's done everything. He's called the lawyer, he's called the police, he's done everything, and it's all fallen apart on him. That is a turning point, because that's where it starts to downturn, because all the rules are failing him and everything's going away.
And it all of a sudden, it doesn't, the company in themselves don't feel as legitimate as they'd made out.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with you on that one. Yeah, I can see that.
And then for the end of Act 2, the only other obvious one, waking up left for dead in Mexico.
Yes, I knew, when I was watching that, I knew that's definitely the turning of an act. Yeah. I wasn't sure which one. There you go, yeah.
For Falling Down, again, this one I struggle a bit with. I call the end of Act 1 as... and I've just written it down as Bag of Guns. Is that what you do as well? Oh, fantastic.
Yes. No, because the thing is, in most stories of this type, the act ends when the character cracks.
Mm-hmm.
But D-Fens cracks in the opening scene.
Yeah.
So it's when he escalates. And that's when he... Because at this point, it's knife... It's baseball bat, knife, fists, guns, bag of guns.
Yeah, yeah.
And then everything escalates, yeah.
Yeah. And it was, again, Act 2 was a bit difficult. The nearest I could figure was plastic surgery, where he gets to the house where the people are having the barbecue.
Oh.
And it's almost like, because he lets them go, it's like the last moment that he's still a rational human being. It's his last good act in the film.
Oh.
I mean, I know the end of the film is it's in itself, but it's the last time that he shows any kind of compassion.
You see, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say it's the dude in the surplus store.
Ooh. Which is just before that?
It's not long before that, just a few minutes. But it's when he kills. Every time before that, he's like, I don't want to hurt you. I'm just trying to defend myself, or I'm just trying to get home.
Yeah.
That's the point when he actually kills someone. He crosses the line.
Okay.
And then he changes his clothing. His entire costume changes and he dresses in black.
Yes.
Like a bad guy.
Very true. I will admit, so with this one, with Falling Down, I mean, the first one made sense. I wasn't sure about the second one, and I did have a quick look online and sort of saw what sort of film reviewers and that, or film buffs have called it, and I can't remember the name of the site. I'll double check it and I'll put a link to it in the description. But that's where they'd called it, was the plastic surgery scene.
Oh, right, okay. Because this is his last attempt at humanity. I understand what you're saying.
But I think for our purposes, we can call it a bit earlier. We don't have to go exactly with what they say. So that's
cool. I'm glad you think that. I mean, if you'd pushed for it, I would have gone along with you.
I don't know whether it was designed that way. There's a comment, there's a line from his mother when Robert Duvall is out there at his mother's house.
Yeah.
And they're looking at the little glass sculptures on the rack.
Yes, yeah. The blown glass pieces.
Yes,
yeah.
and he asks her which is her favourite and says it's the skunk.
Yeah.
And he's picking up and she's talking about it. She's talking about the stripes and saying it's not painted on.
Yeah.
It's the paint is in the glass.
Yes.
And it's like, I never picked up on it before. And it's like, oh shit. It's complete symbolism. It's him. It's not about what's painted on top of him. It's what's inside him.
That
lovely
imperfection
writing.
is a part of the thing.
Yeah.
And that's why she loves it.
Yeah. And it's just like lovely, just perfect writing. It's lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other thing that the only problem that I had, or the only thing that I thought might jeopardise doing the game with him, it depends on how much of or how much, shall we say, bullshit is the psych eval that they give Nicholas Van Orton in the game.
I was thinking about that. I think it's partially bullshit, but also doubly bullshit, because the things that were bullshit about it were part of the test.
Yeah.
Designed to test his reactions to those situations.
Yes. Which means that, I was a bit worried against, we don't know how far on his journey to being broken he is at the point when he takes the test, because we may not feature in what we cover.
Yeah.
And I was just a bit concerned, they might go, yeah, not this guy.
Well, no, I mean, obviously that's because movie.
Yeah.
But we have to find an excuse for that, because we are the writers and we have to work that out. But I do believe that comes later.
Okay. That's fine. We can then discuss that later. And I think I might have already...
Good. Yeah, I could see something going on in your brain there.
Names. So the game becomes The Down.
Yes.
And Falling Down becomes Falling Game.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about earlier when I was trying to work it out, and it's the only one that really makes sense. Yeah. And it's kind of on the nose.
It is. Absolutely. In both cases, absolutely. Which do you want to do first?
Oh, good question. You know, I think it's going to give us more to chew on and really talk about. So I want to see Mr. Van Orton falling.
Okay. The Down is going to be our first movie making...
Maybe movie making exercise?
Yes, that's what he said. So we are going to see rich, successful, and very much alone investment banker Nicholas Van Orton having a really, really bad day. I mean, that's the other thing. I know we'll look at it when we do it, because this takes place over several days.
Yes.
Whereas that takes place over an afternoon.
That's true, but we can work with that.
That's good. I'm happy with that. Before we wrap up, I will finally announce the winner from last month.
Oh, yes. Who actually did the job?
Okay, so just again a bit of a recap for you guys. So we were looking at It's a Wonderful Life and Scrooged, which we changed into It's a Scrooged Life and Wonderful. We couldn't decide. I'd voted for It's a Scrooged Life. Sam voted for Wonderful. So we opened it up to you guys. We ran a poll on our Twitter page and saw what everyone thought out there. And I'm sorry, buddy. From the votes that we had, it was unanimous. We only had votes for It's a Scrooged Life.
Oh. Oh, I'll just have to live with it, won't I?
Yep, so there will be a belated thing here that just says... And in fact, we liked that so much, and we liked the response that we got from the poll, that we've decided that we're now going to be doing that every month. So in our finale, we will cast our votes, and then shortly after the finale's gone up on the channel, we will run a poll. Twitter is normally the easiest one for me to do it on, but I will also put it on our Facebook page as well, on the Maybe Movies Facebook page, and they'll be up for as long as I can do them, so normally about a week or so. Please do cast your votes, watch what we've done, see what you think, and then at the beginning of the next pitch meeting, we will announce the winner from the previous month.
Sounds good, right?
Woohoo! And with that done, I think we are set, ready to go for another month of fictitious film fabrication. Look at that alliteration. Sorry.
Just not sure, man. This is going to be fun. It's going to be weird. I don't know if this is going to work.
I love the way that he says this is going to be fun as a question. That was... Anyway, have a brilliant weekend and come back and join us next Wednesday for Act 1 of The Down. Take care.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Ba 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 ba.